Hello viewers and welcome to Learning with JGO. Today in this video, I will be making a summary and a brief analysis on the poem Butter My Heart by Donne. I will give you a breakdown of this poem in its simplest form as much as possible. But first, do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that you are notified anytime I upload a new video. Butter My Heart is a poem written by Donne and published in the year 1633. Now you may have heard of metaphysical poems. Donne's Butter My Heart is one of them. Metaphysical poems were poems written by a collection of 17th century poets who often used conceits or extended metaphors as a way of expressing their thoughts. The term metaphysical is coined from two words, meta meaning beyond and physical meaning physics or just activities in the physical world. Metaphysical poetry therefore means poetry that extends beyond physics or the physical world into the spiritual world. That is why in the poem Butter My Heart, Donne expresses a heightened level of spirituality using paradoxes and metaphors. Such poems in their written forms do not bring out a clear understanding at first sight, but then the tone of such poems are so direct yet appealing that they carry our emotion into the frame of spirituality. It is important to discuss and address Butter My Heart as a metaphysical poem because you may be asked to examine or comment on this poem as a metaphysical poem. Obviously, you will need to know what a metaphysical poem is, together with the characteristics of metaphysical poems, so as to be able to tackle such a question. That being said, let's take a look at the characteristics of most metaphysical poems. Metaphysical poems usually focus on 1. Topics such as religion, morality, love, and lust. These are beyond science, right? None can be explained by science. 2. The use of wit, extended metaphors, and loose meter. 3. The metric scheme of most metaphysical poems is iambic pentameter. That is, when lines of poetry contains 5 sets of stressed and unstressed syllables. 5. Most metaphysical poems contain lots of hyperboles. Usually, the poet over-exaggerates statements in order to get their messages across. You can explore other characteristics of metaphysical poems, but for the sake of time, let's tap right into the summary of this poem. Butter My Heart, also known as Sonnet 14, is a Petrarchan sonnet with the rhyme scheme ABBA, ABBA, CDDC, EE, and has the metric scheme iambic pentameter. The long and short of this poem is that it expresses the persona's distraction towards his religious faith through the spectrum of violence. The title alone says much. Butter My Heart. The word butter connotes the image of banging, beating, or hammering something. That's the tone with which this poem begins with. Think of the poem Butter My Heart as one that displays the crisis faced by the speaker with regards to his Christian faith. The speaker expresses his longing for God's love, but feels he is unable to reach it due to his attachment to the world. He wants to be faithful to God. He wants to submit to his will, but the niceties of this world have captivated his attention and focus away from him. As such, the speaker commences this poem in a pleading tone, asking God to butter his heart, asking God to beat the persona into submission. The speaker does not buy into the idea that God approaches him gently. He wants God to be heartless enough to use force in renewing the persona's faith. The speaker compares himself to a town that has been usurped or captured by a ruler. The speaker in his heart really wants to invite God into this town, but every effort he makes proves to be fruitless. The persona's logic, which is supposed to defend him from the capture by this world, is defenseless, for his logic, or let me say reason as the persona puts it, is held captive and comes off as unfaithful to God. Despite all this deviation in focus away from God, the speaker loves God dearly and will be glad to be taken away by God. The speaker goes on to say that he is engaged to God's enemy, the devil. He pleads with God to break that knot and imprison him, the persona. The speaker feels he can only be free if God enslaves him and can only be pure or chaste if God assaults him sexually. Before we move on to the line-by-line analysis of this poem, I would like to recite the poem, then we decode some key words in order to make our understanding of this poem easier. Butter my heart, three-person God, for you as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me and bend. You're forced to break, blow, burn, and make me new. I, like an usurped town to another Jew, labor to admit you, but oh, to no end. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captive, and proves weak or untrue. Yet dearly I love you, and would be loved fain. But I'm betrothed unto your enemy. Divorce me, untie or break that knot again. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste, except you ravish me. I've selected a couple of words from the poem. Let's look at their meanings. Butter means beat or hammer. Usurped means captured. Captived means prisoner. Betrothed means engaged. Ravish means rape. Overthrow means overthrow. Viceroy means governor or ruler. Feign means willingly. Enthrall means enslave. After taking a look at this poem, you realize that Butter My Heart is a religious poem, yet romanticized by John Donne. His appeal to attain purity from his sins is made known through a language of violence, love, and sex. The speaker displays the image of God as an assaulter while representing himself with a feminine role. As an assaulter or ravisher, the persona expects to be beaten rigorously and brought into submission. Only this way can he regain his spiritual strength and consciousness. Let's now dive into the line-by-line analysis of the poem. Butter my heart, three-person God, for you as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me, and bend me, you're forced to break, blow, burn, and make me new. The poem commences with the metaphor, butter my heart, addressing the three-person God, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. The speaker sends a humble plea to his maker to slam into his heart with force, as though his heart were like the walls of a city, attacked by a battering ram that repeatedly bangs the city gates in a bid to conquer a conquest. As yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend. The speaker thinks that God so far has only been gentle with him, knocking on the speaker's door and waiting for an answer, breathing instead of blowing, and shining instead of burning. God's effort to purify the person's heart has been mild and too gentle for him. That I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me and bend. The persona continues that for him to rise and stand, God has to overthrow him. This line of the poem alludes very well to the popular biblical belief that for believers to enjoy paradise, they have to endure the tests and trials presented to them in this world, as well as the pain that comes with it. For the sake of attaining salvation, the persona asks to be overthrown by his maker and given all the pain that there is to take in order to achieve this feat. And bend, you're forced to break, blow, burn, and make me new. The persona in this line wants God to remold him into a new person, a person fully committed to his maker and pure in heart. The persona wants this transformation to be done rigorously and violently, without any sort of remorse for the persona. Watch how skillfully the poet employs alliteration in the words break, blow, and burn. This is sublime. The use of alliteration in this line, that is the repetition of B sounds, give us an idea of the various forms of violence being meted out in a repeated fashion. This same line portrays an image of God the Almighty as a blacksmith whose task is to mold his servants into new beings. This in a way is an extended metaphor, comparing God to a blacksmith. I, like an usurped town to another Jew, labor to admit you, but oh, to no end. In line 5 through to line 6, the persona compares himself to a captured town, ruled by an uninvited force, that is the devil. The metaphor in I, like an usurped town, justifies the reason why the persona desperately wants God to slam into his heart with force and take charge of his life. The persona asserts in the next line that he isn't just idle, waiting for God to take charge of his life. He in fact has made efforts to let God into his life, but all his efforts prove to be unsuccessful. His labored attempts are in vain because an evil force has control of him. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captive and proves weak or untrue. Let's rephrase line 7 and line 8 this way. Reason, your vice captain present in my mind, which is supposed to guide me in making better decisions, which is supposed to defend me against evil, is held captive by the devil himself and proves unfaithful. Take a look at line 7 carefully. The poet personifies reason as though it is a human being, more or less like a ruler or a second in command to God. This reason, or the persona's logical ability, has been captured by the devil and so has become very weak to admit God into his life. To the persona, reason has failed both himself and God as a guide and appears to be unfaithful. Yet, dear, I love you and would be loved fain, but am betrothed unto your enemy. Divorce me, untie or break that knot again. In line 9, the persona expresses sincere love to God. Yet dearly I love you reveals an image of a woman confessing a love to a man. And will be loved fain suggests that the persona, after declaring his love to God, expects to be loved by God in return. He will be glad if God returns the love. But I am betrothed unto your enemy. The persona is engaged to God's enemy, the devil, even though he loves God. The engagement to marry God's enemy comes from the persona's capture by the devil, likened to an usurped town. The speaker is thus defenseless, and so expects God to break that marriage that is set to take place between the persona and the devil. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste, except you ravish me. In the next line, the persona pleads with God to take him away, if possible, imprison him to avoid being captured by the devil once more. Observe the paradox in line 13. The persona says, except God enslaves him, shall he be truly free? How does that make any sense? Which slave in this world is truly free? But there is more to this line than its mere denotation. The speaker is desperate for God's attention, eager to love God, and ready to serve him. This isn't the same for the devil. He hates the fact that he is in the devil's custody. Nothing about the devil seems right for him, and there's not much he can do about it. With God, he can finally get the happiness and freedom he has been yearning for, if God enslaves him. Similarly, in line 14, the speaker asserts that he can only be chaste if God ravishes him or assaults him sexually. Paradoxically, the speaker expects to be pure if God seizes him and assaults him. Yet again, we observe how the speaker gives God an image of a man, more specifically, a seducer who is expected to charm the persona and assaults him so that he may be chaste or born again. The poem Batter My Heart characterizes the battles fought by most people to stay on course to their religious beliefs without going astray. More so, it reveals the struggles in the mind of John Donne before a period when he converted from a Catholic to an Anglican to hold a prestigious position in the house of God. John Donne romanticizes this poem, but deep down, it is a sincere plea to attract God's love and serve him well. This brings us to the end of today's lesson. If you like this video, kindly give us a thumbs up and feel free to give us any comment or suggestion whatsoever in the comment section. You can as well subscribe to the channel. Thank you.